Hey, what is up, guys? It is Slick here, back again with another video. And joining me once again on the channel is Teresa. Her channel will be linked down below. Jester Bell on YouTube. How are you doing today, Teresa?
I'm doing really good. I'm excited for DC Fandom. I've apologized profusely to everyone on my Twitter and YouTube that I'm not going to be able to live stream on the day of. But like as soon as I'm done with my thing on that day, I'm going to be doing reaction video after reaction video after reaction video to everything that comes out. So at least I can get a little preview in for that.
Okay, well, before you can get your poses ready, because you got to be shocked in the thumbnails. You got to be like,
yeah,
and then you're just gonna get millions of views if you just do that. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do a photo shoot tonight, actually, of just me looking shocked,
and then I'll
be ready for the thumbnails. I don't even have to make them anymore. It's like just a fake reaction, and it'll get millions of views.
I don't want to talk too much about it. I think the most I was actually enthusiastic about a trailer was like Avengers: Age of Ultron or something. For most trailers, I'm like, yeah, it looks good. Yeah. I'm not super. I'm not sure about that. I'm not super emotional about it. But for this one, I'll just be like, oh my gosh, there's a Batman movie.
Exactly. I wanted to read through this article regarding some of the recent developments we've had for Gotham Knights. Obviously, Gotham Knights is going to be one of the big things that's unveiled more at DC Fandom on October 16th, 2021. And I wanted to read through some of the things that have been sent out to fans and to creators and WB partners. And one of the things that we learned in this newspaper that was sent out to fans was about how Bruce Wayne died in a freak accident in Wayne Manor. You can see this in a newspaper that was unveiled again and sent to many fans. And let me see if I can pull up the headline here really quickly. So this is the box that it was sent in. James Sigfield received one. And additionally, if you go in further into some of the additional images, you can see here in the newspaper, Bruce Wayne dead. Wayne Manor collapse called freak accident. Investigation continues. Wayne Manor collapse deemed tragic accident. And the other thing that's really interesting about this is that then the Court of Owls, you can read on this invitation, the Court of Owls are holding a commemoration event for Bruce Wayne, and you can see on the flyer, you can't really see it here, I'll zoom in a little bit, it says masks required, and in the box is a Court of Owls mask, which is pretty cool. So the Court of Owls is throwing an event to commemorate the death of Bruce Wayne, who allegedly died in a freak accident. And here's my problem with this, and this is where I'll start with this commentary is, I'm totally fine with deviating from the Batman Arkham games. Everybody knows I love Batman Arkham, and I was totally fine with this being separate from the universe of the Batman Arkham franchise. But my problem is that they are literally starting this game exactly where Arkham Knight ended for no reason. If you're going to create your own universe, that's fine. Create your own universe. I don't care. But when you are literally copying the ending of Arkham Knight word for word, even with the fact that Bruce Wayne didn't just die in a helicopter crash or something random, he literally died in the exact same way he died at the end of Batman Arkham Knight, allegedly. And then they're expecting us to be surprised when he comes back in the game, when we already know they're following Arkham Knight to a T. So my question to you is, are you also just confused why they would start their game at the end of Arkham Knight but not make it canon to the Arkham games? Or do you think it's not a problem?
Well, I almost feel like they want it to be canon to Arkham. They just can't because they're a different company and everything. But I originally was under the impression, before I understood which company it was and all that, I thought this was a continuation of the Arkham games because everyone was saying that. And then everyone was saying, why is this not the sequel to the Arkham games, but Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which so far seems to be its own thing. Why is that the thing that's in the Arkham universe and this isn't? So
right.
I could be completely wrong. I just almost feel like they want this to be a continuation of the Arkham games, but they can't technically have it. But I don't know. It just feels like they want it to be. And there was a lot of talk around that when it was first coming out. But I'm all for a universe where Bruce Wayne is allegedly dead, and then the other characters can kind of step in, and where we get that kind of murder mystery. I hope he's actually. This is terrible. I hope they actually commit to it, and that Bruce Wayne is actually dead. But there's going to be a reveal at the very end or something that, oh no, Bruce Wayne's alive somehow. But yeah, for connecting with the Arkham games. Well, I just have to see. I have to see how much more of the plot adds up. If it's just Bruce Wayne is dead and all that, and then nothing else is the way things were in Arkham, then I don't know. Are you going to have that much of a problem with the premise being like Arkham Knight and how that ended, or what if the rest of it is very different from it?
So that's actually a great point, and there is a lot that they can do to improve on the Arkham games. For instance, in Batman Arkham Knight, for some strange reason, they made Barbara Gordon and Tim Drake a couple, which was just repulsive for anybody that has been a big fan of whether it be Chuck Dixon's early 2000s Birds of Prey run or even whether it be the recent New 52 content. Like, you're going to be very anti Barbara dating other members of the Bat family. It just feels weird, especially when Dick Grayson was in the game. So there are a couple of things like that I hope that they can fix and get back on track and sort of reverse and improve. And that is certainly an upside by them being unconnected to the Batman Arkham games, because they don't have to just follow in the footsteps of what Rocksteady has done. And that was the case in their 2013 game, Batman Arkham Origins, where they fundamentally just had to weave and fit within the Batman Arkham games because they were joining in on that universe and creating a game within somebody else's universe. And that put a lot of parameters upon them, and it actually created some conflict in the canon because they did some things that didn't align with what they had established in Asylum and City. So that when Arkham Origins came out, there were some things that weren't totally canon, but the game was supposed to be canon, but also there were like misalignments in terms of timeline and other weird things. So that is a great thing for them, that they don't have to feel barred in the storyline by what by what Rocksteady has done, and they can truly do their own thing. I just wish that they would start it in a more unique way rather than just taking what Rocksteady did at the end and starting it at the same point.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, except I just really do like getting a story that opens up with Bruce Wayne dead, Batman dead, and he has that message. Like, that's what really hooked me when we first got the trailer, and you have Batman giving the message to them of what they should do if he's dead. Once again, I don't know if this is what happened behind the scenes. I'm just wondering if the Arkham games were just so popular. That's like to the video game universe what Batman the Animated Series is to the cartoon universe. So I'm just wondering if in the back of their heads they were like, we want to continue like one of the plot threads or one of the ideas that was left off by Arkham Knight or something like that.
Well, that's fair. And after Arkham Knight, obviously we were all asking, where is the story going to go next? We'll never know. But it was a really interesting premise, the idea of the Bat family taking over for Bruce Wayne and him being this like nightmare, nightfall bat, and kind of the Bruce Wayne part of the persona being dead and him fully being Batman. I don't know how that works, but it's a pretty interesting concept. And I do think that given that the Court of Owls is throwing a ball to sort of commemorate the death of Bruce Wayne, that makes it pretty obvious that this freak accident, quote unquote, that was published in the Gotham Gazette that fans are receiving is pretty bogus, and that the Court of Owls did intentionally kill him or stage his death and kidnap him and trying to convert him into a Talon or something like that. What is your read on that plot setup, and do you think that Bruce Wayne is actually dead?
I said that I wanted him to be dead because that's bold. There's no way he's dead. There is no way he's dead. It's right down to the box, like the box cover art. You see the Batman silhouette.
But here's the thing. I said that, and so many people in my comments were like, "Oh my God, Kobe, you're so dumb. This is just clearly metaphor." And I'm mocking the people that said that. I actually think it's a fair point. I do. Like, I do think that part of it could just be that they're foreshadowing or including him on the box art to get money and sales, and it's not necessarily saying that he's going to be in the game. It's teasing it, though. It's definitely teasing it.
I just think that DC is so attached to Batman, character. Yeah, they're just so attached to him. It's like he never dies. He never doesn't defeat Superman. He never doesn't come out on top.
You're right.
It's like,
you're right.
No matter how much you want him dead or you think he's dead, he's gonna come on. I think with like the teaser thing where we get like was it the poster where there's like one of the Talons is like in a suit and like with his like arms crossed and his face. I'm like, that I would not be surprised if that is Bruce Wayne and they're trying to convert him or they have converted him. There's gonna be like some kind of reveal that he has been taken by the Court of Owls or something like that, and maybe like they've converted him or brainwashed him somehow, and he's like going to be the big boss you fight at the end, and then you get Batman DLC. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they did that because I'm just like, they love Batman, and you probably beat the game, and they're like, okay, Batman DLC, and if you buy another PS4, Xbox or whatever, then you get Batman printed on your thing. They love Batman. They're gonna do something with him. Never think that Batman is actually dead, is what I say.
Exactly. And reading here from GameRant.com, they talk more about this fan box that a couple of fans received. James Sigfield has fully revealed the invitation card, which details the ball is in fact a memoriam of Bruce Wayne. The invitation is hosted by the first families of the Gotham Foundation, which, if you've read Scott Snyder's New 52, you recognize that, obviously, further tying the event to the court and the nefarious schemes. From Gotham Knights marketing thus far, it appears as though Bruce Wayne, although seemingly deceased, will be a significant part of the game's narrative. And that is an interesting point from Game Rant, is that can Bruce Wayne be a part of the plot even if he's dead? One thing that I thought that would be really interesting, and something that they might do, is imagine that these video memos that Bruce Wayne is sending are actually a series of clues that the Bat family is trying to uncover, and that will lead them to uncover the Court of Owls. So fundamentally, like, yes, Batman is dead. Maybe he is legitimately dead in the game, but the video messages that he leaves for the Bat family are like a trail leading the Bat family to the Court of Owls and to Talon in particular. I don't know exactly how that would work or how well that would play off, and maybe at the end you still unveil that Batman is alive, and maybe you're right that there's no world in which he's alive. And one thing we have to remember, by the way, is that prediction you made is very bold, only insofar as the fact that they have explicitly said, they have explicitly been asked, is Bruce Wayne dead in this game? And the devs have not just said that he's dead. They're like, they go out of their way to emphasize how dead he is. They're like, he is 100% dead. We promise. We absolutely promise. And that's like, that really does, no matter how confident you are he's going to be in the game, it makes you think twice about it. But here's what they'll probably do, is it'll probably be like in 2015. Remember when they said that the Arkham Knight was a new character? They're like, he's a totally original new character. And then it was just Jason Todd. There's probably some workaround where it's like, no, Bruce Wayne is dead, but we cloned him. And he's the exact same person, but just a clone. But he is dead. This is Bruce Wayne 2. Or some weird thing like that. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, like there's gonna be a workaround, like you said, like maybe Bruce Wayne is like quote unquote in the game in spirit, where you're constantly like he's leading you on with these memos or whatever, and like so the game is Batman, even though you're just playing different characters. So they're just gonna have it be Batman somehow. He could be dead. He could reveal that he's actually living on the moon and he's not in the game, but he's living on the moon, and he'll be in another game or something like that. So yeah, there'll be a workaround. If I'm wrong and he is alive, but I'm just used to game developers and people in the movie industry and everything like lying. Like I'm not, when they're like, yeah, 100% dead, I'm like, okay, that means 90% dead. Like there's always like never give them. I never 100% believe what they're saying, but if he is dead, then you're right. There is going to be some kind of workaround.
Well, the thing about it too is that they kind of have to come out and say something, because fans immediately from day one, when they showed the trailer, everybody was like, he's not dead. He's alive, like 100%.
Yeah,
and so then they did these interviews and they're still like, no, we promise he's dead. And we're still like, so it's almost like they have to go to that extreme and be so defiant that he's dead to be able to have that plot twist. Because what if the main plot twist of the game that they were expecting was totally busted on the first day, and maybe they weren't anticipating fans to be like, to call their BS and to call their bluff.
Yeah, that's true, because they're probably thinking beforehand fans are going to go that, so we need to, from a PR perspective, we need to be firm that no, Bruce Wayne is dead. Buy our game because he's dead. So like we're doing something completely original here. Like they just want to shut things down. Like there were all kinds of things. I can't remember all of them, but there were all kinds of things that James Gunn said. Here's a good example for the Suicide Squad. Everyone was like, James Gunn is like, I could kill anyone. No one is safe. And everyone's like, well, Harley is safe. And then he's like, no, everyone is safe. And they're like, no, Harley's not going to die. And then finally, like 2 days before, he's like, yeah, they didn't want me to kill Harley. And then I'm like, yeah, that's what we were saying.
We knew that. Yeah.
Yeah. Even though he was like, no, I was allowed to kill anyone. No one is safe. No one you think is safe in this movie.
Like, you liar. That is not true.
So yeah, there's things they do for PR where it's like they're just fighting that we know the obvious, but it's like, we're not going to believe you. But I don't know, maybe this one does have the opportunity to have Bruce Wayne actually dead. It's just like, I will be shocked beyond all belief if he is actually dead, because they usually trick us. But if he is dead, it's going to be like, but he was in throughout the entire game, because he's constantly narrating or giving us these little recordings, kind of like J. Jonah Jameson isn't in Spider-Man PS4, but he's constantly on the radio.
Right.
So
Yeah, it'll be
so
like
like
that. Or he'll still be like an important part of the story. Or you'll have to like use his memoir or like his diary to uncover the
they're
game or
constantly talking
something.
about how they love Bruce
Oh
and Dick
yeah. Oh,
Grayson,
we're
and
just
I was
not the
so
same
mean to
without
Bruce. And
Bruce.
here's another cutscene where I just love Bruce so
Oh,
much.
flashback. Yeah. That yeah. You're exactly
Flashbacks.
right.
They're gonna use the flashbacks.
Yep. Yep. But honestly, I'm okay with it because if they just neglect Bruce Wayne existing, because here's the thing too, is that we don't know Bruce Wayne in this universe. So it would be very weird if we saw almost nothing of him and didn't learn about him or didn't. It would just be weird. I'm not saying I wouldn't like it, I guess, but it would just be odd. Again, if this was a sequel to Arkham Knight, I'd be like, okay, I know what Batman we're dealing with. I know who Bruce Wayne was before he died. But here, we don't even know who he is. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we barely even know what he looks like. We just saw a little video from him, a little vlog that he was filming in the Batcave, I guess. But otherwise, it would be very bizarre for him to not be in the game at all. So I think that we'll definitely see more of him, and it's great to see them teasing this in this sort of gift box that was sent out to a number of fans. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see. I think in 6 days, we'll get a lot more information about what the plot of this game is going to look like, and I personally can't wait. And, after we get the trailer, we'll hop on and do another Dualcom and talk about what we liked and didn't like about the trailer.
Yeah, really quick before we log off. So in the like, there were images of the newspapers that were released today, and they revealed some more villains for the games, I guess. So really quick, I wanted to know what you thought of that. I saw Mr. Freeze was in there, and then there was like Pamela's Diner, which is a reference to Poison Ivy. So what did you think about the other villains revealed for the game, and how do you think they're going to be integrated into the story?
Yeah, I really like that. I mean, one of the main concerns I have with the game thus far is that I saw Mr. Freeze's mission, obviously, in the gameplay trailer. And, excuse me. I was a bit concerned about what I saw. I kind of felt that Mr. Freeze was being presented as almost a side villain in a weird way. And my concern is that all of the villains in the game will kind of be positioned to be side villains. And that's my main concern, is that they're doing these little Easter eggs for Poison Ivy, and we know that Two-Face is in the game, and we know that a number of other villains are in the game. But are they just going to be little side quests that are an aside from the Court of Owls storyline? That's a concern, because here's one of the main things that I noticed between Arkham City and Arkham Knight is that in Batman Arkham City, all of the main villains from Batman's Rogues Gallery were a part of the main story. Right, like Penguin was an integral part of the main story. So was Two-Face, to a lesser extent. So was Catwoman. So was Poison Ivy. So was the Joker. So was Hugo Strange. And with Arkham Knight, they changed it completely, and they made it so that really it was just Scarecrow and the Arkham Knight, and all these other villains like Penguin just had these stupid warehouses, and you just had to like get in the warehouses, and Two-Face was robbing these banks, and it was just so dumb, and there's no plot to the characters. And I kind of worried the same thing about this game. I was like, Mr. Freeze is freezing the whole city, but like, why? Like, what is that? Does that have anything to do with what the Court of Owls are doing? Are they like, I just tend to find that when more villains get involved, like in stories like Batman Hush or Batman Arkham City, and like there's more interconnectivity between the characters, I tend to like it more than when the characters are like isolated and doing their own thing. So that's kind of where I'm at on it. I'm curious to get your thoughts.
Well, I always just like seeing all the different Batman rogues show up. So unfortunately, I feel like your concern might be validated, because the way I think they're going to be integrated, as I think the game's going to start in Bruce Wayne is dead, and the four of them are just trying to find themselves and trying to protect the city and trying to replace Batman. And from there, you go and maybe you say do a Poison Ivy mission,
Sure,
and
sure.
then like the Court of Owls storyline is just kind of slowly going on, and then the other characters are just side characters, and then maybe when you finish the main mission, then there's still all these other characters, like to do a Batman rogue, like Scarecrow has a mission that you can complete, or a storyline you can complete. I'm going to enjoy seeing all the characters, but I do unfortunately think they're going to be like side quests compared to the main thing, which is about Court of Owls. Maybe some of them will be integrated into the plot, but I don't know. Court of Owls is like, but here's the thing about Court of Owls is the idea of them, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not as familiar with them as I am other characters, but isn't the idea of the Court of Owls is that they are kind of responsible for the crime in Gotham? Like they're behind the scenes in what Gotham becomes eventually?
Yeah.
So if they do that, Yeah, if they do that, then there is a way to integrate about how maybe you go and you fight different Batman rogues, and how maybe they're behind all that. Maybe they've
Right.
made deals with people. Maybe there's just somehow that they're
That's
orchestrating this. That
interesting. You're
that could
right.
be a way.
You're right. I mean,
That could be a way.
fundamentally, the Court of Owls, the Court of Owls, like kind of run Gotham. They pull the strings on all of Gotham, and it's because like all of the wealthiest families and patriarchs of Gotham are a part of the Court of Owls and like have been for generations. So all like the politicians and the wealthy business people and all of that. So that's actually a good point that even the mayor, like there's a little clipping in the newspaper about the mayor, he's probably like in the Court of Owls or like bought and paid for by the Court of Owls. So it's just like endemic corruption, which does create some interesting story opportunities, especially like you said, that actually is a good point, and I hope they go that direction because it would be super lame if you just have like a bunch of these random boss fights with Mr. Freeze and like I don't know, like where's Nora? Where's like the story? Where's the plot of why he's doing what he's doing? I just didn't really understand that, but we only saw 7 minutes of gameplay, so I can't judge too harshly.
Yeah, I'd give them a chance because
You're
with
right.
Court of Owls, there's a chance that they could integrate it all together, at least most of it, like loosely tie everything together at the very least. But that's interesting just to think of the plot of how like this is Gotham's top family. So it's like, are they aware? Did they figure out who Batman really was? And so they orchestrated like this downfall. So that's going to be interesting to see unfold, I think.
Yeah, and that's one thing I'm really looking forward to the game is that I do think there's a fair amount of like suspense and intrigue. I love thrillers and like stories that I don't know what's going to happen in the end. And I've played a lot of games where it's very obvious what's going to happen in the end. Cough, cough, Batman Arkham Knight. And I'm excited to play some superhero video games. Like even Spider-Man PS4 threw us a bit of a curveball with the Aunt May thing. So I'm really, really excited for the story because I do think it's a lot different and unique from the Batman Arkham games or the Spider-Man PS4 games, for instance, in terms of the story that's being crafted. And I'm super excited to see it play out. But thank you for tuning in, guys, to this video. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe to this channel, and ring the notification bell. Teresa's channel will be linked down in the description below. Make sure you go subscribe and turn on the notification bell on her channel as well for her coverage of DC fandom, which, again, is less than 1 week away. Thank you guys so much for watching, and see you all in the next video. Peace out.